Hello, guys. My name is Eric Maples, and the presentation that I'm going to have to present to you guys today is from my Sociology 323 class, Marriage and the Family, and it's on the topic of parenthood and children. So, with no further ado, let's not waste any more time and let's dive right into this. So, the first slide right here is about parenthood factors and what should be considered when considering the possibility of becoming a parent. Pretty much, it's just going to be some questions that you're going to ask yourself and your partner as well to discuss with them and discuss just personally with your own self. Starting right off, the first question would be, why would you like to have a child? So, if you find the answers that you're looking for, then you know that you're going to want to care for that child, give the love and compassion that every child needs and that every parent should provide to their child? Or are you finding answers that you didn't think you would find? Then you're probably leaning towards more wanting to wait to have a child. Um, are your decisions motivated internally or externally? Pretty much what this is getting down to is, are the decisions that you're making going to make you happy, and is it what you want and what you've seen yourself being in the future? If if it goes along the lines of something of having a child because it's something that you want and have always wanted, then you know your decision is coming internally and straight from your own heart and your own feelings. Now, if you're on the external side, more than likely you're receiving pressure or you're motivated from outside sources such as your spouse, your parents, or any other factor that it wants you to have a child or become a parent that is not internally motivated on your own. How is your relationship? Is the next question you should ask. If you and your spouse, your husband or your wife, are in a very good place and you both know that having a child is something that you're both going to jump into and you're going to be able to provide for the child, both physically, emotionally, financially, and provide the support that that child needs to grow and flourish in today's ever-changing society. Or if your relationship's on the opposite spectrum of this timeline, or scale, I should say, then if you're rocky with your spouse or you guys are going through a hard time, a child should not be what you look to fix those problems. A child should be something to add on to a relationship that is in a place that you know will never end or affect that child in any negative way. Pretty much at the end of the day, in my opinion, the main goal is to provide happiness and support to any child that you and your spouse have conceived or thinking about conceiving. And then one of the most important questions is, are you and your spouse past the honeymoon phase? The honeymoon phase is the first phase of when you start dating or after you're married, and it's when nothing can go wrong. You're both just in that amazing, just happy time, and no matter what either of you do, nothing will really affect it negatively. So pretty much what I would do, in my opinion, is wait until after the honeymoon phase to see if a child is something that you and your spouse would like to add on to your relationship. Parenthood trends. According to the 2016 study, the average woman having children is 26 years old, and that is a study. The 26-year-old is an average of all women from all different years. It has gone up in recent years. In recent years, the average age of women, like, as I said, has begun to increase. 85% of women are still having their first child before the age of 35. And the cause for this change is women on their own pursuing personal careers and putting a family on hold. For example, back in the year 1970, women were not pursuing their own careers and they were staying at home to be that stay-at-home mom and care for the family and do all the domestic duties. Now, in the year 2017, things are much different. Women have more rights, women are more empowered in the workplace, and this is causing for them to put their families on hold, which is nothing that is bad, in my opinion. That is a very beautiful thing that has taken place in our society, and it's causing for great diversity also in the workplace and just in the world in general. And studies also have shown that women that wait until the age of 35 to have their first child earn $50,000 more per year compared to women that had their first child at the age of 20. Let that sit in for a second. To wait 15 more years for $50,000 more a year, that is a tremendous amount of money. Advantages to 21st century parenting. I kept this one very short and simple because I wanted to make the 2 points on here very clear as to what I feel are the advantages to 21st century parenting. Technology and diversity. Technology, some will say, is a disadvantage to parenting. While I do agree with that, I also feel that it is a great advantage to parenting. With the huge variety of technology that we have in today's society, parents are able to access more things to keep the family safe and to make sure that they always know where their children are at. For example, at my household, we have that doorbell that many of you have probably seen on TV, that when the doorbell rings, you can see who's at the doorbell on your phone, even when you're not at home. That's a very positive technological factor that can be added into parenting, because if you're in the room with your child trying to put them to sleep in their crib, for example, and the doorbell rings, you no longer have to get up and risk going to the front door for a potentially dangerous person to be there, because you can see who's there. Also, you can track where they are on their cell phones so they're never lost and you know where they are. And also diversity. I feel that this is even bigger than technology, because in today's society, we are all growing up in a society that is very diverse, and we all come from different ethnic and cultural backgrounds, which causes for us not to see race, not to see gender, not to see one another for the differences, but together we're one society as a whole. Some challenges to 21st century parenting. As I said, technology is a very positive advantage to parenting, but it can also be a very big challenge and a disadvantage. Technology can be positive, as I said, to provide safety, but also cause many problems. For example, it can cause problems for the child wanting to go outside and can prevent them from wanting to exercise and get that fresh air that every child needs. Me personally, growing up, I grew up in the 90s, so I was an outside child. I did grow up with some technology, but it's such a huge difference from just the short time frame that I was a child to now where my niece and nephew are children. They are swarmed in a technology age, whereas I was kind of born right at the beginning of this technological age. And it can also be a distraction at home and in the classroom, which can affect the children taking content and material away from any number of lessons. There's also many pressures to being a 21st century parent. The two main pressures that I came up with were pressures that your child must excel to keep up with other children. I feel that this is one thing that parents need to focus on most. Don't compare your child to another child. That child is completely receiving a different parenting style, different lessons, and they have a different mindset. So if you take away those pressures and just focus on your child and your family, then that will help reverse the pressure from keeping up with other children and turn it more into an advantage, because you're focused more on yourself and your children. And every child must play a sport by a very early age. I cannot reiterate this enough. I grew up in a sporting lifestyle, and I'm still around sports. And the number one thing I've always seen is parents pushing their children to play sports they do not want to play. It's their life at the end of the day. So I would personally listen to my children and see what sport they did and did not want to play. And then this pretty much wraps up my presentations. As you can see on this page right here, I have a list of my citations. It was a pleasure presenting to you guys today, and I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope I can have the opportunity to present to you in the future.